You gave up a TV job to start a podcast in your basement. If that doesn't scream midlife crisis, I don't know what does.
It was Championship Sunday here in Indianapolis. What's the mindset then coming in as a defending champion?
I want to win. No, I want to win.
The young lady over my shoulder, Caitlin Clark.
Not the best looking guy. And I don't think anyone's going to sit here and say, Matt Randazzo was really good looking.
What has this last month, 2 months, 3 months been like for you? It's an important fan base for the Fighting Illini, is it not?
It is.
He turned 69 years young last week. You look good, Coach.
Oh, try it. Thank you.
Welcome to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Friday in the Quad Cities. TGIF. Friday is officially here. The weekend is almost upon us. Thank you guys for starting your weekend or ending your work week, whichever way you want to look at it, with us right here on OTA. If you're watching us live on YouTube, thank you for that. We appreciate that. Getting close to 1,500 subscribers. So if you have subscribed, thank you. If you have not subscribed, please do so ASAP. Also, the chat is up and active as always. So be interactive with us. Join us if you're on YouTube in all of those different ways as well. We are live on X as well. X is always very, very good to us. We appreciate X. If you're, same thing there. Be interactive, chat with us, all of those kind of things as we finish up the work week and get ready for Super Bowl weekend, Super Bowl Sunday, coming up in about 48 hours. We're also available on all the podcasting platforms as well, so you can follow us on Apple, Spotify, iHeart, Podbean, wherever you get your podcasts. Go there, put in Off the Air with Matt Randazzo, and listen to the show. Whether you're running around and going to a high school basketball game tonight or whatever it may be, check us out right on all of the podcasting platforms as well. And then, as always, welcome to our viewers in Central Iowa. We are streaming each and every night at 7 p.m. on the WHO streaming app. So appreciate you guys tuning in as well. It's been a loaded week on the show. It's one of those Fridays where, like, I feel like I'm young, and I'm not, but I feel like I'm young. I'm back in school or whatever it may be, and I'm like, oh, I can't wait for the weekend to get here. It's been a good week, a busy week here on the show. My wife's been out of town most of the week, so we have survived. The house is still up. We haven't burned anything down, but I'm ready for the weekend. But before we get to the weekend, we got one more really good show to get to. But this week alone, Monday, Taylor Panel, Trent Condon, Arthur Abbey from Rock Island, and Rob Brooks. On Tuesday, we had Kyle Huseman, Jim Madsen, and Caden Constantine. On Wednesday, Nick Baumgartner talking all about the upcoming NFL draft, Iowa prospects, Illinois prospects, all of those kind of things. His thoughts on Matthew Bailey, where he'll fit next year in the draft. Jake Brend, Jim Spencer, and Matt Gingrich from Sterling Athletics. So that was a really fun show. And then yesterday, Tom Kakert, Nicholas Bayer breaking down the Iowa men's victory and successful West Coast trip. Kevin Gorgel, Moline football coach for 33 years, retiring. A lot of great feedback on that interview. So go check out Kevin Gorgel on yesterday's show as well. And John Marks joined us as well. Coming up on today's show, we're going to talk a lot about the Roger Craig announcement. Roger Craig is officially finally heading to the Hall of Fame. Way, way overdue. I'm hoping to catch up with Craig DeVries, former longtime sports writer here in the Quad Cities, coming up a little bit later in the show. Still, I think Craig's still sleeping. He texts me, and then it takes like 2 hours for him to text me back. He just said yes. So Craig DeVries, that's live TV at its finest. Craig DeVries coming up about 11 o'clock, a little bit later. It's 10:45, somewhere around there. Also coming up, John Bohnenkamp was at Carver Hawkeye Arena for what was unfortunately an Iowa loss last night. We'll break it all down. Iowa losing to Minnesota. It was a 20-point game in the second half. Iowa cut the gap, got closer late, but they end up losing by 6. 3 games in a row they've lost. We'll talk about that moving forward. Journey Houston continues to play outstanding basketball if you're a Quad City viewer of the show. So we'll talk maybe some lineup changes, all of those kind of things. John Bohnenkamp coming up in a matter of moments. And also Dan Tomlin. I got all the sports writers or former sports writers on the show today. Dan Tomlin to get us set for what will be a fun Sunday of sports gambling. Give you some winners, give you what not to do. That's coming up in hour number 2 of the show. So we're loaded once again. Busy show. I want to get to kind of the big story of last night and into today. This is courtesy of the NFL Network and the NFL Hall of Fame. This is Roger Craig finding out he's finally going into the Hall of Fame.
Run it out, yeah! Welcome to the 2026 Hall of Fame, bro!
These guys help me out all the time, you know, so
being in the Hall of Fame with him, I'm so amazed.
Really cool stuff there. Roger Craig, as we mentioned, going into the Hall of Fame, 3-time Super Bowl champion, first NFL football player ever to rush for 1,000 yards and catch 1,000 yards passing in the same season. It's long overdue. We'll talk about that with Craig DeVries coming up a little bit later in the show, John Bohnenkamp as well. But I think everyone in the Quad Cities excited. Obviously, Roger Craig, I remember growing up knowing about him. Kind of my first football memories was Roger Craig here in the Quad Cities, doing it for obviously the Niners and winning Super Bowls and going, that guy's from our area, which was really cool. I've got to interview him several times, met him several times. An amazing man, a gentleman, all those kind of things. And you saw the reaction. It's just really cool. And it's one of those things where the Quad Cities, and we talk about this on the show all the time, the Quad Cities, when one of their own goes and does big things, it doesn't matter if you're a Davenport Central alum or Rock Island or Rock Ridge or Orion, wherever, Bettendorf, it doesn't matter. You're a Quad Citian. And I think that's really cool. And that's the way I think Roger Craig kind of, exemplifies that. That's what everyone here in our area thinks Roger Craig. They think, boy, he either killed my high school when he was here or he was doing it for my high school or wherever. So Roger Craig heading to the Hall of Fame. We'll have Craig DeVries coming up about 10:45 to talk a little bit more about that big news. Hey, we had Taylor Panel on the show on Monday. The season kicked off for softball. And how about this?
One is driven high and deep
Taylor
into right
Panel,
field.
her
Going back
debut
is Bono at the
as a
wall,
Red Raider,
and it is
and she
gone.
hammers that
Taylor
home
Panel,
run.
her
Really
second
cool
hit
to
of the
see.
night. This
If you
one's a
missed,
big
of
fly
course,
to deep left
Texas Tech,
field.
one of the best teams in the entire country. They will do great things this year. If you missed our interview with Taylor Panel, of course, was a standout All-American at Tennessee, now at Texas Tech. Go check that out from Monday. But wanted to put that in there because I know she had a couple hits, including the home run. She may have had 3. I don't know. That was her second of the game. Good journalists would have known exactly what the box score was. I just know she had a really good day. So great to see that for some really good high school basketball last night. Central DeWitt, Maquoketa, it's a great rivalry. 2 of the best teams in the state when it comes to girls basketball. It was Central DeWitt winning a really good basketball game, 49-46. Ava Putnam, I think, passed the 1,000 point mark. We're going to effort to get her on the show maybe Monday. After the weekend, they got games coming up, tonight and over the weekend. So we'll kind of talk with her coming up on Monday, maybe about that. But 2 really good teams that'll do a lot of good things coming up in the postseason as well. The NFL awards were announced yesterday. Joe Tooney was the Protector of the Year, new one. Deserving all that. Everybody knows that Penei Sewell's the best offensive lineman in football, but it was a cute award. I mean, they had a good season. Joe Tooney changed that offensive line. He's like the face of that change offensively. So I'll let it be. Matthew Stafford, MVP, which I think is cool as a Lions fan. Obviously not doing it for the Lions, but I argued with so many people when Matthew Stafford was the first overall pick, that he wasn't. People told me he was injury prone, not very good. All those. He's a Hall of Famer, plain and simple. MVP, Super Bowl champion, Hall of Famer, all of those kind of things. So that's fine. We'll do more Super Bowl stuff later in the show. I got a prediction, all those kind of things as well. But we start today with our beginning of sports writers here on the show, and our good friend John Bohnenkamp. So joining me to talk a little Iowa women's basketball and a bunch of everything is our good friend John Bohnenkamp. It's Super Bowl weekend. Are you a Super Bowl? Like, are you excited about this Super Bowl, or do you not care? How do you look at the Super Bowl?
I think I just don't care. I mean, I'll watch the game. I mean, what time's the Northwestern Iowa game's at 2? I'll probably be home before halftime.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe, but I don't care about either one of these teams. And, we've talked about this. I think we've talked about it off the air, but I've just kind of gotten away from the NFL.
Yeah.
And part of it was, I covered the St. Louis Rams and then they moved. And so it was like, okay, I don't care about the Rams anymore. And you're going to laugh when I say this, my Octobers are filled with baseball. And I watch NASCAR.
It's
And
not
so-
what you say, John. It's the way
I know.
you say it. My
I know.
October.
Well, my Octobers are pretty full,
Yeah.
And then, and so I'm going to shut off my emails, see my bings. But and I watch NASCAR, and so all of a sudden now it's mid-November, and now I'm into college basketball, and I don't play fantasy football anymore.
Yeah.
So it just isn't, one of those things.
We have a
I'll
gambling
watch the
segment.
game. I'll watch the game, but that's about it.
Yeah, we have our good friend Dan Tomlin. I don't remember Dan Tomlin. Longtime sports writer.
We talk all the time on Twitter.
He's going to be joining us in a little bit with some ways to get yourself intrigued with the Super Bowl, which would be the sports gambling variety of ways. So we'll talk about that coming up in just a little bit. Let's talk. I guess when we're on football, you're a longtime Burlington, Quad City, this kind of everything involved. Roger Craig's a Hall of Famer this morning. That's a good thing, right? About damn time.
Sure. Yeah, because and I say this from the perspective of down here, from when Burlington was in the MAC. People will say, "Hey, I saw that guy play high school football."
Yeah.
Hey, I saw that guy at Bracewell Stadium. I saw and so when these guys go in the Hall of Fame, there's a connection there. I mean, I feel that way with Kurt Warner. I saw Kurt Warner's last high school game. True story. And then I saw him. I mean, obviously covered him with the Rams. So you could go back to those, and you said those are, and it's the same way like when baseball Hall of Famers going from that played in the Midwest League.
Yeah,
Larry Walker went in a couple of years ago. And he played for the Bees. Hey, I saw Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
I saw Paul Molitor. Hey, Hall of Fame. So that's where I think the connection for all of Eastern Iowa is that, he was here. He played games here. So it is cool.
He either played for you and you rooted for him, or he probably came in and destroyed your high school at some point along the way when he was at Davenport Central. No, it was really cool to see him. So the good news last night, Roger Craig's in the Hall of Fame. The good news coming up this weekend, though, we got the Super Bowl to look forward to. The bad news was last night at Carver Hawkeye Arena. I loved it because you guys are the headlines. Give me your headline from a disappointing loss to the Gophers at home. Iowa has now lost 3 straight games. Your headline from last night.
There were people walking out the door in late in the second half. That hasn't happened at too many women's games lately at Carver. No, they just didn't play well, and I mean that was they played well for a quarter, and then it just got away from them. And it was everybody's going to look at the final score and think that it was a close game. It was not a close game. And that's a little concerning right now with how they're playing.
There's, of course, panic among Hawkeye fans. I think Coach Jensen put it great after the game. No panic, but urgency. What was the vibe after the game? Because now, I mean, obviously you built up a little collateral with the 9-0 start and all those kind of things, but it wasn't just collateral. It was also the fact that you could start thinking 2 seed, 3 seed, those kind of things. Now you can't even start thinking about those things. You just got to go get a victory. Urgency is the term she used. Your thoughts on where this program is when it comes to panic, urgency, those kind of things.
Well, I mean, they ran into a bad patch this time last year when you think about it, and got out of it, and the one thing you don't want to do at this point if you're this team is fall out of it where you're not. Right now, they would be at home in the first weekend of the NCAA tournament. They would be probably even after last night, probably be a 3 seed. You don't want to lose too many more games, and all of a sudden you're 5 or 6 and going to Oklahoma or, LSU or something like that. You don't want to be on the road. And so they have to really they're not going to win the Big Ten title. That was pretty clear after the trip last week. So your next goal is you want to be at home. You want to get the double bye or triple bye, I guess, now in the Big Ten tournament. And you want to be at home for the NCAA tournament. And to do that, you got to start turning things around. You can't let this losing streak go to 4 or go to 5. It's got to stop next Wednesday against Washington.
some good things that happened a little bit yesterday. But you mentioned, I guess we'll talk about that first.
Right.
The final score was a little misleading when it came to the fact that it was a 20-point game in the second half. And Minnesota shot it well. They played well. They're a good basketball team. First time they've beaten Iowa, I think, since 2018 or something like that. Yeah, you look at the final score and hats off to battle to the end and all those kind of things. It really wasn't. It was a I don't want to say bad performance, but it wasn't a good performance by the Iowa women last night at Carver Hawkeye.
No, you gave up 91 points. And I mean, that's against a team that could shoot the ball, but you gave them an awful lot of open looks. And so that you have to really kind of, and again, you go back to what Jan Jensen said about not panicking. Well, no, you don't panic, but I think you do need to look at making some changes here and there. And if you're not playing defense right now and this team's giving up 91 points, you got to make some changes. And so I think that's what this week off is going to, or this week between games is going to have to be for this program, is figure out, who should be starting, who should be doing this, who should be doing that. Those are going to be some questions she's going to have to answer before next Wednesday.
Obviously, with Taylor McCabe out of the starting lineup, out of the lineup and out for the season, I think because of how good Addie Deal was playing, like when it happened, it was like, it stinks, it's terrible, but we're going to be okay. And I kind of talked a little bit earlier this week with Kyle Huseman about how she affects the game in so many ways. And I'm not saying Iowa lost last night because they don't have Taylor McCabe, but you talked about lineups and rotations, and they've dealt with it a lot this year. They've had people in and out of the lineup and all those kind of things. But I do think that there's some tweaking with that lineup that they could do. Let's say you're the head coach of the Iowa women's basketball team, and you got the pen and paper. Give us your starting five. If you could start 5 players against Washington, which suddenly is I think a gigantic game next Wednesday, I believe. Who would you start, John? If you came to, would you go back to what we had, or would you mix things up a little bit?
I would go Taylor Stremlo and bring Addie Deal off the bench. That would be my first thing. And if you look at Stremlo's numbers last night, they weren't very good. She was 2 of 9 from the field. But in the 3 games, go back to December when Chit Chat Wright was out, when Kylie Feuerbach was out, and you had Stremlo in the starting lineup, I thought they were better. I think that's probably where you have to go. But, one of the questions that, and Jan kind of alluded to this last night, is that they're going to have to answer is, who's better off starting, who's better off coming off the bench. You have to answer, because I would be more than happy. I mean, I would be more than comfortable with Journey Houston starting, but at the same time, is she more comfortable in the role she's in now? And so those are going to be, again, questions that you're going to have to determine. When you mentioned Taylor McCabe, and you're going to have to learn to play without her the rest of the year. But at the same time, Jan's going to have to learn how to coach without her. And that means in terms of rotations, that sort of thing. Now all of a sudden you don't have that trustworthy senior on. So there's a learning curve for a lot of people in this. And that, I think, right now might be the biggest problem with this team. They still kind of haven't figured out who fits where.
It was interesting because in California, it seemed like Ava Hyden did a decent job of staying on the floor. Last night, she was really good, but she fouled out once again. She was the bright spot besides the foul. Journey Houston, you mentioned her, John. I think it was 15 points in 16 minutes or 16 points in 15 minutes, something. It's the second straight game, or second out of 3 games that she's had 15 or 16 points, going back to USC on the road. I also think she's playing out of position where, yes, she's playing a 4 or a big, but I do think she can play a 3. I do think she can be good enough to play that position. I guess you're at Carver. Your thoughts on Journey? We talk about her a lot. I'm biased. I think she's a fantastic young lady, but she's also a really good basketball player. You mentioned her role, and I think she's done a good job of knowing her role and making the most of opportunities. When do the opportunities get a little bigger for her?
I think they have to now. I mean, she played 15 and a half minutes last night. She should probably be at least a 20-minute game player. I was looking through the box score because you get whenever after games you always kind of look at who the leading scorers were. And so before we started this, I started looking at the box score, and it's like Kylie Feuerbach played 33 minutes and gave them absolutely nothing other than 2 rebounds. And I don't want to make that sound like I'm blaming her, but you need some more production out of that spot. And I know Kylie plays great defense, and that's cool, and I get that, but it's like maybe some of those minutes have to be lessened to give some minutes to somebody else. Give Kylie 25 minutes, give the rest of them the journey. I mean, those are things that Jan's gonna have to look at here in the next few days is who can go where, and it's something that discuss. So that's going to be the biggest thing, I think, in my mind. And so in my mind, getting back to the Journey Houston course, she should be a 20-minute a game player right now, and because of the way she's playing. So I don't, you got to find a spot for her, whether it's, I don't know if you start her, but you need to give her more minutes.
Yeah, no, I would completely agree, and I think she's done a great job of taking what's come her way, but I think she's also earned more to come her way, if that makes any sense as well. John Bohnenkamp joining us right now on Off Day with Matt Randazzo. John, you look at, I want to talk some men's with you for a second, but what's to come for Iowa? Real quick, defense-wise. Like, I don't think, and that's, yes, they can score. You think of Caitlin Clark back in the day and those guys shooting and all those kind of things. And even recently, like, Iowa's offense is efficient, but they've played to give up 91 points at home at Carver Hawkeye. Is the defense, was there, like, I will go back to the other night with the Iowa men and say, yeah, it wasn't very good in the first half against Washington, but that was also Washington just like, I mean, they could miss. So I think it was a combination of both. Last night's defensive performance, was that on Iowa? Give Minnesota a little bit of credit. Like, how concerned are you with Iowa's defense, and how impressed, I guess, you were with the way Minnesota played?
I thought Minnesota played a really good basketball game last night. And now, to be fair, they threw in a few shots that probably don't go in, sometimes that happens. I mean, I think they had really late in the game, they had a banked 3. That was the one that really sent everybody to the exits on that one. And then those you can't do anything about. But when you give up that many threes and you give up that kind of you're right now, you're not doing good things on defense. And yeah, some of it does. I mean, Minnesota does have players to shoot, but you have to recognize that. And so that means you have to, go out and go over screens and do things. And again, problems that need to be solved during the next week, because you can't keep playing defense like this if you want to go a long way in the NCAA tournament coming up.
I completely agree. John Bohnenkamp joining us right now. Coming up, you mentioned it's almost a week off. I think they play next Wednesday, so it's 6 days off. Mm-hmm. I think that's a good thing because of being out in LA and being away. They probably need to reset and get away from it for a second, and get some practice time too. We talk about this all the time. When you get in the grind of Big Ten play, the practices aren't always what you want them to be. They're not always there. They're not always as efficient. All of those kind of things. But you've lost 3 straight. So like these ladies don't like that taste in them. They want to get back out there and play. Is this 6-day break a good thing for the Iowa women's basketball team, or a bad thing for the Iowa women's basketball team?
I think it's a good thing for them. And honestly, if I was head coach, I would bring them in today. I'd do a lot of game film. I'd do a lot of maybe light work, shooting free throws, that sort of thing. And then I'd give them at least Saturday and maybe all of Sunday off, and just let them get away for a few minutes and just say, if you want to come in and get some work in, great. If not, we'll see you Monday morning. Because I think this team does need a little bit of a break. That those West Coast road trips are killers. And as you said, we were going to talk about the men. Last night may be a cautionary tale for them. They got home late from Washington, and then you've got a game on Sunday against Northwestern. did that road trip kind of throw the Iowa women off? Now, if you're the men, you kind of have to think about that too. So I would just give them a couple of days off just to breathe and relax and get back at it. And whatever work you do is on your own. And then maybe even there, see who comes in and does stuff, So this is, I think it comes at a good time for them.
So it's Washington next Wednesday. Then they play a strange, I'm assuming it's President's Day, Monday the 16th, February 16th. I'm assuming that's because it's an 11 a.m. game. So I think it's like a President's Day or something, must be. So it's at Nebraska. It's Purdue, which should be a win. And then it's a really big one against a really good Michigan team back at Carver Hawkeye. So it's not an easy stretch. We kind of talked about this a lot. There's no really easy and then right after that, it's Illinois comes to town, and they're playing really good basketball right now too. So there's not and that Wisconsin is not the easy victory that it's been in years past. So Iowa with some work to do. We can look ahead at the schedule, John. They have to focus on Washington coming up next Wednesday, February 11th. That's at 6:30 at Carver Hawkeye Arena, pink out at Iowa in Iowa City. You'll be back in Iowa City, I believe, on Super Bowl Sunday. You just mentioned it. Just we talked with Bear Cage and Tommy yesterday on the show. Could you stay up? Did you stay up the other night?
Yeah, people always say that. I'm like, okay, you're gonna laugh at this. I stay up for late games from April to October. So that was a West Coast game. That was the Dodgers on the West Coast for me. So
okay, so we do a drinking game for we don't really, but when Ken Palm gets brought up, Wheezy, our good friend Wheezy, it's take a drink. We're gonna start doing that with Dodger references with John Bohnenkamp when he comes on the show.
I had a friend message me the other day, and she's like, "Is there anybody you don't annoy about the Dodgers?" And I said no.
I don't think you annoy me. I think you amuse me. Now we'll see how quickly that amusing turns into annoying. We'll see.
Okay.
But for
seriously, I mean, I was like, because Kyle said to me last night, I just stay up, and I said, well, like stand up for the Dodger game.
Yeah,
I'm used to 9 o'clock start, and it's
And John, the line of business that we've worked in for forever. Right. Somebody's like, "Are you gonna be stay up?" I'm like, I used to not leave the station till 11:30 or midnight every night, and that's only a year ago.
Left the Hawkeye until 12:30.
Yeah, so that's no big deal. What did you? Really impressive trip for Iowa. I'm still getting feedback on social media that says they weren't playing anybody. They were two bad teams. Blah 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 blah. I totally understand that.
What side of the river that comes from?
Yeah,
anyway.
But I get that. I understand it. But in the last 5 games, they've gone to Indiana, to Oregon, and to Washington and won basketball games. I don't care how bad the teams are this year, and Indiana's proven to be pretty good. You're going on the road and winning basketball games. Your thoughts on the trip out west to the Northwest, and Iowa fans got to be feeling pretty good right now about the men's basketball team.
All you do right now is you stack wins at this point in the season, so if you're winning on the road, I mean, obviously, I go back to what I was saying earlier about getting buys in the Big Ten tournament. You want to be in that top 8. So you're playing on Thursday. You don't want to play Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday if you want to win it. So you want to be in the top 8. To be in the top 8, you got to win on the road. And so it doesn't matter who you're playing. Those are big wins, and when you add them up over time, and so it doesn't matter who they play, they won games. That's what you have to do. Yeah. And I think sometimes we get hung up on that stuff, and because somebody was talking about it being a quad 1 win. Like, well, it's number 41 Washington in the net. There's quad 1 wins and there's quad 1 wins. So no, this was a good road trip for them. Again, West Coast games can be traps. They went out and won them both. They took care of business, and they were very businesslike in doing it. So you have to look at it from that standpoint. This was a really good road trip for them.
Besides Bennett Sturts, what's the story for Iowa basketball right now? Why are they playing well?
I think they are the sum of their parts. I mean, I think everybody buys into what they're doing, and if somebody doesn't have a good game, somebody else does. And they're very connected offensively and defensively, and I would say really, really connected defensively, which is something this program needed. And I just think they are a really good fit together right now. And in college basketball in February, that becomes a big deal. And when you're in the top, whatever it is, top 20 in the nation in offensive and defensive efficiency in Ken Pom, you're doing pretty good. So
get my drink out.
Okay.
Get my drink out.
Okay.
It's not spiked yet. It's not spiked yet.
Okay. But I'm saying that's reality. It's like when you're putting up those kind of numbers, that's saying you're connected on both ends of the court.
I completely agree. Here's an interesting one for you before I talk about Northwestern. I want to ask you about Northwestern, but who plays longer in the postseason, the Iowa men or the Iowa women? And maybe not longer because they're different times, but like who makes it farther, men or women, at the moment?
At the moment, the way they're playing, I think the men. I mean, I do.
Do they make a Sweet 16 this year? Is this the year?
It depends on where they're seeded in the tournament. If they're an 8 or 9 seed, probably not, because you're going to run into a really good number one. But college basketball, men's college basketball, being what it is, there is a lot of parity. So is it possible? Sure it is. I mean, I think that I think they have a better chance right now, the way they're playing, of getting to the second weekend than the women do.
They
and I mean that may change in a couple weeks, but right now,
Yeah, no, I'm clipping this, and when they lose 3 straight, I'm going to pull this up and say, John. No, I'm just kidding. And they do have some. I mean, it gets they have 2 winnable games, and then they play some. They play the Purdue's and Michigan's and Nebraska twice of the world once again. So there's some more difficult. But I think right now they're a 5 seed. I think is what I've seen a lot of. Northwestern comes in after getting just pantsed by Illinois. I mean, just 40 points. And I think Illinois is playing an extremely high level. What do you expect in Super Bowl Sunday when it comes to Iowa Northwestern? I don't think they can just show up and win. Northwestern's going to be grindy. I think Doug Collins is a good coach, obviously, but that's an extremely winnable game that Iowa better not sleepwalk it with, correct?
Right. And I mean, I go back to what I was saying earlier about coming back from the West Coast. They got back, early yesterday morning, and, they got to get their legs underneath them here, today and tomorrow. Otherwise that could be kind of problematic Sunday afternoon if you don't play well. And, the one thing about it this year, when they haven't played well in a lot of games against teams, they would just like go back to the USC game. They played well, but they made plays down the stretch. Of course, USC kind of helped them with that foul, but they made plays down the stretch. They made, right now, going back to what I said earlier, this team doesn't make plays. So just be careful on Sunday. Maybe he goes a little bit deeper than he usually does, just to give some guys, some opportunities. But I think they win Sunday and win fairly easily, but just be careful, because that's a game that you can't dump. So.
Big picture for me before I let you go. Who's the best team in the Big Ten right now?
I think Illinois, when they're clicking, is as good as anybody.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously Michigan is so good. Michigan State is playing well, but you never know who's going to kick somebody in the groin and cause problems, but or trip somebody or whatever. So
no, I can agree with that as well. When it comes to this weekend, and I give Illinois a lot of flowers. We've had Jim Mattinson on this week, had Mike Hagley. I think they're really good. Saturday concerns me. I think Illinois, and they're playing amazing, and so I know I'm going to get a hard time for this. I think they're due to lose, if that makes any sense. And I hate being that guy, but like when you're playing it's the Big Ten. You just mentioned it. It's the Big Ten. Going on the road and beating bad teams is difficult enough. More or less going on the road and beating a good team. I just feel like, and Michigan State's coming off the loss. You know what it's like at the Breslin Center. It's grindy. It's dirty. They figure. I love Luka Garza this week. He has the theory about the rims and how in the Breslin Center they shoot at one end and then they take advantage and come back at the second half.
I'm laughing at so much traction that's gotten.
I know.
And it was just kind of an offhand comment on a podcast, and now I saw a story on the Athletic about it. I'm like, really? Here we go. But yeah, no, this is a game that now this is a game for Illinois. If you win it, now all of a sudden you're really feeling good at that point.
Wow.
So, but yeah, it could be it. I know how that place is. I've seen really good Iowa teams go up there and get beaten pretty bad. So, yeah, anything's possible when you go there, and it's a hothouse.
I think they're a really good basketball team. I think they can do a lot of good things this year. I think this weekend might be a tough one at the Breslin Center, and that's not saying anything crazy. All right, I know you're not going to get to enjoy the game like you normally would, the Super Bowl, but if you can eat one thing during the Super Bowl, what's your pick to click when it comes to Super Bowl snack or food or something? Is it pizza, wings, nachos? What's the go-to?
Oh, I'm just more of a chips guy. I mean, I'm not into the big eating, a lot of food for games. I'm a potato chip. I'm a Fritos guy.
There you
that
go.
Sort of thing. So,
dipping you?
Tostitos,
Are you dipping them in anything? A little queso?
No, not really. No,
Okay.
not really. I mean, again, people always laugh at me, but I just don't like dips and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, I'm
weird when it comes to food. So.
Yeah. I'll say this. And I don't know exactly what we're doing. Our basement is getting finished right now, which is great. We had it finished. Okay. We had some water, but it's a mess. So I don't know. But wherever I'm at on Sunday, like my problem is I don't sit down and eat. I just eat for like 9 hours. You know what I mean? You get down, you're like, I didn't eat today. Well, no, you just ate all day. You didn't eat once. You didn't make a plate. You just ate constantly. Yeah, I grazed is what my mom would always say. Quit grazing in the kitchen. So enjoy the Super Bowl. Enjoy Sunday. You'll be up in Iowa City for Iowa Northwestern. Always appreciate you. And guess what? Pitchers and catchers report when?
Yeah, soon. I mean, the trucks have all left. I've seen all the truck day pictures. So all the equipment trucks have left. So it's only a matter of time before the two-time World Series champions get back to work.
I think this is when I click the button and you go away. Bye, John. Thanks, pal.
Okay. All right.
See you,
Thank
buddy.
you.
John Bohnenkamp joining us on Off Day with Matt Randazzo. Tough night last night at Carver-Hawkeye Arena. I don't think a lot of people expected that. I think a lot of people expected, hey, they're back home, they're going to win. But give Minnesota credit too. That's a very good basketball team, and they came to Iowa City, and like John said, they were up 20 at one point, and they go on, beat Iowa, hold them off, win by 6. Jordy Houston played great, so we'll see what it looks like 5 days from now, I guess, when they are back at Carver-Hawkeye against Washington. Coming up after the break, we're going to get ready for the Super Bowl, and we're not going to break down the game and those kind of things when it comes to, hey, they got to be good up front, and the secondary's got to be good. We're going to talk gambling. Our good friend Dan Tomlin will join us to get us set for a way to make some money on Sunday and his favorite bets and all those kind of things. That and much more. You watch an OTA on a Friday. TGIF. It's Friday. We'll be right back. All right, be honest. Are you craving Hungry Hobo again? You know, that fresh sliced meat piled high on those amazing sandwiches, hot off the grill chicken and steak, with all those delicious toppings, the biggest and best selection of baked potatoes, or simply some waffle fries dipped in cheese. Well, now that Quad City favorite is even easier to get. Download the Hungry Hobo app today. Order ahead, skip the line, and earn rewards all at the same time. There's Double Points Monday and exclusive specials as well. With 12 locations in the Quad City area, it's Hungry Hobo, now even easier to find, but still hard to resist.
Rafferty Funeral Home, dedicated to serving families in the Quad Cities since 2007.
Hi, welcome. Here, come on in.
An experienced staff plans each service to reflect the unique life and legacy of your loved one. Rafferty Funeral Home is proud to serve our community with dignity, respect, and compassion, helping you to celebrate your traditions and lasting memories no matter your faith, culture, or budget. Rafferty Funeral Home in Moline. Call today to discuss prearrangements.
When it comes to quality, convenient pizza, Godfather's Pizza in Silvis has you covered. Featuring a beautiful dine-in area, delivery, and a carry-out window. Godfather's Pizza is that pizza you grew up with, not a convenience store. You see, at Godfather's Pizza, the dough is made fresh daily. That mozzarella cheese is shredded fresh and never frozen. And those toppings are abundantly piled high each and every time. Locally owned and operated since 2010, Godfather's is a huge supporter of local athletes right here in the Quad Cities. So come on by and check them out at 1211 Avenue of the Cities in Silvis. Order online at godfathers.com and reunite with that same delicious pizza you grew up with. Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Friday in the Quad Cities. Pardon me while I turn my heater off. It gets cold up in this loft, this fancy little loft of mine. Thank you guys so much for joining us wherever you are, however you're listening. It is the end of the work week. A lot to talk about before we get to Super Bowl Sunday. Just got done talking about the Iowa women with John Bohnenkamp, who was at Carver Hawkeye Arena yesterday. They've lost 3 straight. I think they get back on track. They get that week, 6 days off, 5 days off now to hopefully get back on track. And we'll see how they do coming up here. Was it Wednesday, I believe, of next week. But the big news today and last night, kind of knew about it over the last week. The signs finally pointing towards Roger Craig getting the call to the Hall of Fame. It's well overdue. It's something that should have happened, in my opinion, a long time ago, but it's got the Quad Cities excited. And I think that's a very cool thing. So when I think of excited Quad Cityans, Craig DeVries is the first person I think of. How are you, my friend?
I'm excited. I'm really happy for Roger. You're right. It's been a long time coming. I think he first became eligible. It's been like a 30-year wait almost.
Yeah.
And long overdue. I remember talking to him when he was there was like a run of 3-4 years where he was always in the top 25, always on the ballot, always eligible. He's been eligible up until now, but thankfully they kind of created a new way in for the old timers, and anyway, it's long overdue. He was always. I remember calling him from a Mallards game. The last time I think he was on the in the final 25 because I had discovered that he, and so I said, oh man, I got to call Roger now, and he's the guy. He's going to be crushed, and he was because he he played with all those great 49ers who led the way for him: Montana, Rice, Dwight Clark, guys like that, Ronnie Lott. And then Bill Walsh told him at one time, I believe it was on his deathbed, Bill Walsh told him, just wait your turn. Wow. You'll get in. And now he is. So that's great.
You think about it, Craig, and I got 4 kids, and they're, hey, tell us about Roger Craig. They watched some videos and all those kind of things. And that's the unfortunate part is you almost have to remind people about how good he was. What I guess maybe refresh our memories. I mean, he's the first guy to go 1,000 yards rushing and receiving in the same season.
Yeah.
People go
with Bill Walsh and the West Coast offense. He pretty much reinvented the
we might have lost Craig for a second. Hopefully for not too long.
And all the guys who came behind him, I was just looking at a list, Keith Byers, Marcus Allen was a contemporary. Tiki Barber followed him. Alvin Kamara is one spot ahead of Roger Craig now in all-time receiving yards by a running back. And Roger still ranks 9th. He's still in the top 10 all time. receiving yards by a running back. So, the West Coast offense was pretty much predicated on a running back like Roger Craig who could not only carry the rock but slip out and catch it and run with it effectively. And the concept of yards after catch kind of was created within that West Coast offense that Bill Walsh invented.
No, exactly. Craig DeVries joining us right now on Off Day with Matt Randazzo. And Craig, you look at it too. People talk about what that man was like on the field. You've gotten to know him off the field. I've interviewed him several times, and you can't say enough nice things. Genuinely, when you think of Roger Craig, football player wise is fantastic. Human being wise, right there as well.
Yeah, I mean, always picked up the phone. Like I said, I knew I was going to call him on probably one of the most disappointing nights of his life, and I knew he was going to pick up the phone, and that's what I dreaded because he was going to pick up the phone, and I was going to have to talk to him about that really disappointing news. But every sports writer, every media personality, every reporter in the Quad Cities had that same experience with Roger. He never forgot where he came from, and he always came back. For all those years, he did the Roger Craig charity golf outing, raised tons of funds for the United Way and for lots of worthy causes in the Quad Cities, brought a lot of great sports personalities. I just tripped across
is the important thing as well. But I will say this before I let you get out of here. I want to talk about the Super Bowl itself this weekend. Do you get excited for the Super Bowl? Your thoughts? I know it's not the Bears, but do you get excited about it?
I could have been really
your
excited.
Thoughts on Sunday's game?
I think we don't know. We still don't know enough about the New England Patriots and their defense and what they're capable of doing. I think everybody's kind of, certainly Bears fans and NFC fans in the Quad Cities are pretty well aware of how good the Seahawks are and how good Sam Darnold and that connection with JSN has been. But I think we still don't know how good the Patriots are, and maybe we'll find out. But they've got a really salty defense, and it was up until the last third of the season was aggravating to see how well Drake May was playing in comparison to the guy who went a spot ahead of him in the NFL draft 2 years ago. But I think the guy, the number one draft pick, kind of acquitted himself toward the end there with some of the most amazing plays you'll ever see. That's really my reaction to the Super Bowl this year is shit, Bears aren't in it.
Greg, while you're here, you're a Bears guy, obviously. What was that like for you? And I've talked to I hate the Bears. I'm a Bears hater. I don't like them. I don't want them to do well. I was glad the national.
It was just really crazy. You said most Bear fans. That's what I picked up on first.
Yeah, most Bears fans.
Just every week, Caleb Williams and the Bears were doing some crazy, unbelievable comeback, and it's you start with the pass that he threw that was that he got through against the Steelers, I think, or Browns, to DJ Moore. It was an unbelievable pass. You've never seen a Bear quarterback throw a pass like that in your life. And then comes the two games against the Packers where the 4th and 8, unbelievable. The game-winning touchdown, and then in the playoff, the way they came back and he won that game. And then I was watching the game against Los Angeles where he's running back, and you'd seen that movie 100 times with Bears quarterbacks where they're running around and you just know it's going to end really, really ugly and really, really bad. And somehow he gets the ball 40 yards in the air for a 12-yard completion to Cole Kmet. It was just unbelievable. And my reaction was, oh, my God. And I yelled it so loud that my wife and the dogs all started barking. And then I get a text, oh, my God. And then my brother calls me, oh, my God. That was everybody's reaction was, oh, my God. And for them not to win that football game was really deflating. But still, it's obviously Bears fans have never had a season to look forward to at the end of a season, and now we do. So there's that.
Yeah, it's one of those, and I think, and Ben was like 5th in Coach of the Year stuff yesterday, which I still think is crazy.
Well, that's
because
how good it was.
I am a Ben Johnson guy. I think you're going to yell at me, Craig. I get so worried because you're going to yell at me. I'm not there yet on Caleb. I think he can be, but I think and the unscripted stuff and the wow moments and all those kind of stuff is fantastic. You can't take it away from him. And the physical attributes, all those kind of things, the consistency needs to get a lot better, in my opinion.
100%. No question.
But with that being said, you do have that North is going to be crazy next year. And I think Ben's crazy enough and we had Nick Baumgartner on the show from The Athletic earlier this week, and he kind of agreed. Yes, the defense needs the attention and all that. But I'm telling you, if Ben can improve the offense, meaning if Jeremiah Love drops enough where he can jump up and grab him, or I just think that Ben's crazy enough that backfield's not going to look the same way. No offense to DeAndre Swift, but he already got rid of him once. I think you can get rid of him again. What do you want to see as a Bears fan this offseason? Do you want to see Max Crosby? Do you want to see what would be your focus? You're the general manager of the Chicago Bears.
I want to see one of the 5 really good edge rushers in this draft drop to the Bears at 25. That's what I want to see. They've got that offense is so close to complete. But you're right about Caleb. There's no question. I think that's where the offense gets better. I don't know that they need another running back. That's interesting, but and there's also no way Jeremiah Love is going to drop to.
Well, I know they would have to. They'd have to trade up to get him.
He's probably better than.
My thought, Craig, is they trade up to get him because there's no way he's going to 25, obviously. But if he slips enough, here's my thought process. And I watched it with the Lions. He had DeAndre Swift. They had Jamal Williams. Jamal Williams set the record for touchdowns by a Lions running back in a single season. And Barry Sanders played for them. I don't need to tell you that. So they were rolling, and they had Swift and Williams. And all of a sudden, Ben's like, I want this guy named Jameer.
You're not going to question, when they drafted Colston Loveland, I was kind of a Warren guy. And I thought, well, okay, this is who they want. This is who Ben wants. And Ben, we trust, But you're also right about Caleb. He's got to get more consistent. The completion percentage has got to go up, and he's got to play more. But he did start playing better in the pocket. So he was a much different quarterback at the end than he was at the start. And it's the wow moments that we're remembering, and it's easy to get to get overexcited about that, because I remember when the year that Justin Fields was running all over the yard and doing these really exciting runs. We thought we had a true number 1 quarterback, and of course we didn't. And but Caleb's got the arm, and he's got he's just got this ability to make throws that you don't see people make throws. So no, is he as good as Drake May right now? No, he's not. Is he as good as Sam Darnold right now? Probably not. Is he as good as, obviously the MVP, who wasn't all that good in the division game against the Bears, but good nonetheless, good enough to win. Obviously, Stafford better than most, and that's a good quarterback, and that's those guys have elite completion percentage. You've got to put the ball where the ball's got to be, and you can't throw the interception that Caleb threw at the end of the Rams game, although a lot of us think that was on the All-Pro receiver. But they're getting there, and there's a lot of reason to be excited. So whatever they do in the draft is going to be fantastic. I don't know that they're going to spend a lot of money on a Max Crosby in free agency or trade. I don't think they have to. I think they just have to. They've got the offensive line in a good place, which you've never said about the Bears in my lifetime. I'm dating back to '85 when they had a great offensive line.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's so many pieces in place, and they've got the coach that you trust to get the job done, and all of a sudden, the GM that you didn't feel so good about, you feel okay about, because they had a really good draft this last year.
They did. And they got Ben, and I think Ben's really good, Ben Johnson. And I hope it ends up terribly for you.
Why did that guy want to work for this mess? I don't get it.
Hey, but you know what? If he has a say, it's not, you mentioned Poles and his draft was better. Well, that's because of Ben. Like Ben
He's working for Ben now.
Yeah,
There's no
exactly.
question. All I
Like
gotta do is
he runs
compare
the
salaries.
organization, and that's a good thing for Bears fan. Bad things for Lions fans, but I think it's going to be a fun division once again next year, and it should be a bunch of fun. Craig, thank you for doing this. We need to do this more often, not just when golf is going on, all of those kind of things. But I appreciate you hopping on. Again, the big news in the Quad Cities today: Roger Craig's heading to the Hall of Fame, and it's well overdue. We have our Hall of Famer, Craig DeVries. I appreciate you, my friend. We'll catch up again real soon. Thanks, buddy.
All right, Matt. Thanks.
All right. That is Craig DeVries joining us here on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. And I don't know, it might be my internet, which I'm hoping is getting a little bit better. But Craig does a fantastic job and has forever. And he's right. Like Roger Craig was doing it before all these guys that are doing it now do it, if that makes any sense. He was a trailblazer. Great that he is back in the Hall of Fame. Into the Hall of Fame. It's a beautiful thing. Coming up after the break, we're going to go to another former sports writer. We got John Bohnenkamp still doing it. We got Craig, a Hall of Famer. Some guy named Dan Tomlins going to talk.
FCA, the heart and soul in sports.
View from the West, the podcast covering Illinois high school football.
It's going to be a hard-hitting game. It's going to be great football.
Weekly analysis
with delicious, fresh ingredients each and every time. Pick up your chips and salsa, queso, enchiladas, and much more at the Stern Center in Rock Island. To place your order, simply call the man himself. It's Snoop at 309-314-8197 and find out for yourself what the rest of the Quad Cities already loves. Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Friday in the Quad Cities. We haven't talked a lot of Super Bowl this week, and I kind of wanted to save it to Friday. The game is one thing. There's the halftime show. You got commercials. You have all the pomp and circumstance around what is the Super Bowl. But if you're not a Seahawks fan and you're not a Patriots fan, you need to be a fan of something. And everybody does the Super Bowl squares and all those kind of things, but a lot of people do the sports gambling, and that's what we're going to talk about today here on Off the Air. My good friend Dan Tomlin, co-founder of Prop Culture Discord, and he's the famous former sports writer. Everybody loves and adores Dan Tomlin. How are you, my friend?
I'm good. That's quite the introduction. Thank you.
Oh, I mean, you're co-founding stuff now. You're a big timer.
Oh, sure. Not as big as you, my friend.
No, not at all. But we are bees, and that's the beautiful thing. I will say this. So I had the honor of inducting our good friend and mentor Duke Snyder into the Ambrose Hall of Fame. And I thought I did okay. And then you got up there. Who'd you induct? I can't remember.
John Darmody.
Yeah, absolutely. And you killed it, man. You showed me up. You hammered me. You did it again.
It's always best to go last, Jazzo. It's always best to go last.
You did. You killed it.
I had you set up from the jump. While you were speaking, I was just like, I've already got it.
This is too easy.
Get one over on him.
This is too easy. Dan, obviously the Super Bowl coming up. I kind of get sad when the Super Bowl comes about because I love NFL Sundays. I love gambling. I love live gambling. I love prop bets, all of those kind of things. So I'm a little sad because it's almost coming to an end. But it is a day where you can gamble on everything. What's your, I guess, overall thought process when it comes to the Super Bowl, gambling, that kind of thing?
Yeah, patience, I think, is the biggest thing. Everybody wants to be out there early. I don't know about you. I'm going to go back to what you just said, though. Last weekend was pretty depressing, right?
It was awful.
First Sunday without NFL.
I don't gamble on college sports anymore. And so we had a lot of great basketball to watch with like Illinois men, Iowa State men, women both played for Illinois and Iowa. So I had something to watch, but you're 1,000% correct. It's like, I don't like it. I'm already looking forward to the NFL draft and those kind of things. Yeah. Let's get rolling again. I wish it was football season all the time.
I know. And I'm a big, I do like putting on baseball at nights. I watch a ton of baseball. And so I'm excited for baseball season. But again, that's like a marathon where every Sunday was its own standalone. You got your fantasy team, you got your bets that you've been working on all
You had
week,
your Bears,
and then like to have a Sunday and have that, it was like, oh, what are my wife and kids doing here? What is going on? What? This is terrible.
Reality hit real hard last weekend. Yeah, exactly. Reality hit hard.
Yeah.
Gambling wise, how do you look at this?
So, it's hard not to be anxious and not to want to get lots of bets down to make it a fun day. What I always try and think about is what my budget is going to look like for the Super Bowl, and we always talk in units because everybody's units is a little bit different, what people feel comfortable with betting wise, whether it's $1 or $5 or $10, but just setting an overall budget. And then thinking about that as you see things throughout the week, DraftKings, FanDuel, MGM, Bet365, they're all coming out with stuff every day that are fun little wagers, little promotions, and so it's nice to get down on that. But I like to wait till the end of the week. I mean, I know that I'm losing out on some value, some closing line value, but I like to kind of get a feel for what the teams look like at practice. Really think about the cat and mouse game that these guys are playing with each other before getting down on too much, because the lines will move early, but they haven't moved all that much in the last 48 hours or so. That's kind of my thought process, is thinking about a budget and then kind of how much do I want to set aside and make sure I have to use live, and then how much do I want to get down before the game. What kind of betting styles do you like? Do you like to bet first half points? Do you like to bet receptions? Do you like to bet rushing yards? What interests you? What piques your interest, I guess? And then kind of shopping around for value on that, and eventually putting down. So
I'll say this. It's
not necessarily all that complicated either. If you like something, just bet it.
Well, that happens to me sometimes. I'll go on trips. We'll go to on vacation. We always try to hit up a baseball game wherever we go. A couple. Last year we got to go to Fenway and Yankee Stadium, which was awesome. But we'll go to the games and I'll be like, I'll even say to my kids, all right, you have $20 to do a bet, and you have $20 to do a bet. And which is awful parenting, by the way. But I end up just losing because it's kids making up stuff they think is cool. And that's gambling because you're bored or because you want some type of entertainment instead of what I try to do, and that's gamble to make money and make a profit and all those kind of things. I will say this. So there's that thought process that I've been told this week that, and I think it's more of an under game. I do. I know that the Seahawks gave up a bunch last week, but that was a shootout with the Rams, and they've done that 3 times, I think, already. So I don't think that's what we're going to see this week with 2 really good defenses and those kind of things. So if you like unders, I was told if you like unders prop-wise, to wait. Because a lot of people, when they all come out and they love to just hammer, I mean, overs are fun. You know that. Overs, you're rooting for something to happen. Yeah. Unders are no fun. You just have to sit there and go, come on, clock, keep moving. So they're not as fun. But is there something to that where if you like unders, probably wait, and they're probably you probably get a little better value now than you would have if you would have beginning of the week?
Yeah, like you said, the public's going to be all over overs. They want to root for something, not against something. So generally speaking, if you're going to bet an over, you're going to want to do it early. If you're going to bet an under, you're going to want to do it late. And that does play into why I don't have too much down, because some of the angles that I really like are on the underside. So
I completely agree. Let's talk about the game itself first. The line came out, I think 3.5. It's up to 4.5 now. I'm that guy that, I'm an NFC guy. I think the NFC was better. There's I think red flags when it comes to the Patriots. Your thoughts on just the line itself? It's now got to 4.5. So, your thoughts on if you're just betting the game itself, that line, the 2 teams, the actual score itself.
Right. Yeah. So looking at the numbers, I mean, there's a big psychological move at 3.5 and at 4.5. But God, you see the money coming in, and it's 70% on the Seahawks spread. and you just think, I don't know if the public is that sharp.
I know.
Like I also feel like an unders game. I just don't know if it's going to be like 17-13, or 2016. I don't know. Because like you said, I think the biggest thing is we've seen probably the ceiling of the Seahawks, and from their body of work, we've likely seen their floor. It's hard to tell if we've seen either of those from the Patriots. That AFC Championship game was supposed to be that game, and they played against a backup in a snowstorm. Drake May passed for 85 yards. What did we learn?
Yeah.
That's not to take anything away from him. But what did we learn about
And those
him?
were conditions too. Like you don't know what the conditions. Like that's the thing. I don't know. And that sometimes it's recency biased where people just watched that offense and thought, well, that wasn't very good. But it was, like you mentioned, in a snowstorm against a really good defense. The other team had a backup quarterback. Denver had a backup quarterback. I think there's a recency bias where and that's what concerns me. I'll be honest. I'm on the -3.5. I got that early. And because I just watched this season, I thought the NFC was better. I thought the Patriots, if you look, they beat one team this regular season with a 500 or better record. That's it. They beat like six games they played last place teams. I mean, it was really and so taking nothing away from them. I like Mike Vrabel, all those kind of things. I just think the NFC's better, and that's what made me just kind of plug my nose a little bit when the Lions came out and said, if I think this as much as I do, I need to jump on it now.
So I think that one of the things we can say is, who was the best defensive team that the Patriots played? Houston Texans, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Drake May had 4 turnovers. So it took C.J. Stroud being horrible for them to get through that game. I don't know that Sam Darnold makes those mistakes. Especially he really kind of quieted some people with the way he played against the Rams. He was super clutch. I also think that, those number ones like Puka and JSN, everybody knows that they're going to be getting targets, and they still get 100 yards. And it's good game planning. It's good coaching to be able to go, they're looking at that guy. They've got all their coverage on him, and we're still going to find a way to get him 100 yards. And so anyway, from a betting standpoint, it's super shaky. I mean, I think that smart money's on something like, I don't know, -2.5, eating the juice or finding a juice reducer on it.
Yeah. My hook scares me. I'll say that. My hook scares me.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
But then again, we could be sitting here next week and it was 21-10 and it was never really a game.
Yep. I've had people say to me, go look at
reality.
the alt lines. I've had people confidently say to me, go look at the alt lines if you like Seattle that much, which they already did, the people I was talking to, and go find an alt line of Seattle -7, a Seattle -10, those kind of things, and then you look really good if that actually ends up happening. Dan Tomlin joining us right now at Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. We're going to have some picks. We're going to have some plays coming up in a little bit when it comes to our OTA Super Bowl bets. We're going to let Dan make us some money this season as well. I want to talk about a strategy. We mentioned the game itself. I love prop bets. I do a lot of prop bets. And I do a lot of stuff live. When you look at this Super Bowl, what's your thought process? Maybe pregame when it comes to those type of bets, and then obviously the live betting aspect in sports, I think is just taking a next level, and it's I think it's more popular than the actual. I have friends that swear against pregame gambling, like it's just literally it's more of you're gambling instead of you're investing or analyzing, if that makes any sense. Your thoughts to what you like the Super Bowl when it comes to props, live, all that kind of stuff.
Sure. Yeah, no, I think that from a live standpoint versus pregame, during the pregame, what you have is a market, right? The numbers out there, and the books are trying to get equal numbers on both sides so that they can kind of get the vig on it. Where live, it is a lot more dynamic, and they have the market isn't setting the line so much as they're throwing a number out there and trying to get action, and they're just not very good at it. So I have been absolutely killing live betting during the playoffs, because if you know what to look for, you can really take advantage of this. So I use an odds screener called Pickett, which will aggregate all the books live, and so you can see, against the Rams, Cooper Kupp had been kind of shut out. I think he had one reception, and you could tell it was a high scoring game. 3 receptions was like plus 115 on a book, and he got two receptions on the very next drive, and then 4 receptions ended up being like plus 125. Put that down as well, and that crazy first down play where he kind of reaches behind and whatever, that was 4th reception, and pre-game I'm sure he was over under 3.5 receptions, and the over would have been minus 120. So is it worth taking it there, or is it worth hoping that within the first couple drives he doesn't get a look and that number drops to 3 catches for plus 105? The other thing is QB rushing yards. Drake May's a quarterback that can run, but it's not like they're running the option with him either.
Yeah.
So his rushing yards all come from rolling out or coverage, good coverage where he checks, and runs. And if you think that the Seahawks are going to win, well, that's going to kind of be the position the Pats are in. And let's see, what is number open at? Like 35.5? Can he get 35.5? Sure. But if he doesn't run in the first 3 possessions, that number is going to be 18 immediately. And you jump on something like that. And I mean, that's just how you beat the books. So
yeah.
Here's another interesting one that I like. I was watching Darnold, because quarterback rushing is a huge way to beat the books live. Darnold took off against the Rams, I think it was twice, and one was for like an 11 or 12-yard gain. Again, the Seahawks know that May can run, so they're going to spy, they're going to do some things. The Patriots aren't. So if the Seahawks get into a situation where they're kind of having to push and scramble, Darnold opens at 5.5. He'll be down to 1.5 yards.
That's true.
The thing that you'll want to look at there, though, because kneeling is going to happen and a guy like Darnold might get over his line by like a yard, if you can catch a live longest rush, that's kind of where the play is on a guy like Darnold, who may roll out and not see a target but see green and run for a 5-yard first down. Because right now, I think 6 yards is not only his over-under, it's also his longest rush, where you could get 7 yards and 10 yard. A 10-yard run is like plus 350 or something, and 230 for a 10-yard run. And not to say that that's a lock or anything, but I think that if he's going to run, it's going to be on like a 3rd and 8 type of situation where he's going for the marker.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. It's a really good point.
And then you'd hate to get killed on kneel downs at the end.
And I've gotten it. I think I got it last game with Drake May. I think I got where he had a rush for 7 yards to pick up the first down to, I think it was a naked bootleg to seal the deal, and I got it by 2, and then he kneeled down 3 times, and I was looking at the other end. I didn't like that. So I really like Drake May when it comes to live. And then I've talked about it this year on the show. Like a good example was the Bears-Packers game. Like if a team gets down in the NFL, there's not too many, 2+ touchdown games, or score games, especially in the Super Bowl. I mean, it's supposed to be close. So if one team does get up a bunch, go with what the game script is. And if that's the team that's down a lot is going to throw the ball a lot of times late in games, if they're down 2 scores late, they're going to give up a lot of underneath stuff. That's when the running backs come into play, or those check downs and those kind of things. So I love the live aspect of the Super Bowl. We're going to have some game plays. Do you have any novelty props before we actually get into the game plays? Obviously, everybody talks about the length of the national anthem. There's the coin toss, which we'll get to in a second. There's the color Gatorade that will, I mean, are those just fun that you have? I will tell this story, and I've got to make sure I don't incriminate anybody, which I don't think I will. I worked with somebody way back, this is a long time ago, 20 years ago, where they knew a producer that was working at the Super Bowl that listened to the national anthem and knew it was going to be way over. So he called me, he's like, put a ton of money on it's going to be over. And I'm at a Super Bowl party with a bunch of degenerate buddies, and we all put a boatload of money on the national anthem, and you'd never seen a place cheer so loud when that time went back. So yes, there's ways to, like, I guess, research out and do those kind of things. How do you look at novelty props? Is it a fun, thing to do, or do you try to actually figure things out?
So what we've done in the past is that's one where I give my wife $20 and say, here's a list of crazy props.
Whoa.
Put $1 on each one.
You're giving your wife money?
Well, okay. Here's your money back, hon.
Thank you. That's much better. That's much better. Go on. Proceed.
Well, we're not dumb. We know the routine.
Jeez, are you kidding me?
And then we always have a big Super Bowl party. My sister and brother-in-law, my 4 nieces and nephews, and then my boys. And we'll print off covers.
I never got the text.
.com.
I must not have gotten invited.
Yeah.
Huh.
We're just paisans in a different way, my friend.
There you go.
But covers.com, it does a nice, like, novelty prop sheet that you print off, and then you can score it and stuff. And we'll give prizes for that. But yeah, the anthem, because you can't get those props on American books, by the way. You got to go offshore on those.
Yeah.
But I've been on the over on the anthem a lot, and I don't remember losing. Like, I think that they don't take in. I think there's a huge edge on the anthem of the singer in the moment, making sure that they get some face time.
Yeah.
And
you want to hit it.
Some of those
you want to hit that. I'm not going to do it because I'll blow everybody's eardrums out. You want to hit the part. You want and go along with it. You know what I mean? You want to show out. So, no, I completely agree. Do you do heads and tails?
Well, I am this year.
Okay, and you've already done it, right? Okay, so we talked about this last year.
I'm in.
We talked about this last year, and this I talked about it early in the week. My wife is a genius. I mean, she's brilliant in every way, shape, and form. Her only 2 bad faults are she's got a horrible judge of men. She's terrible when it comes to juding men, and then she cannot pick. Yeah, she cannot pick heads and tails. We've been married for years. It's going to be 18 coming up in July, I hope. God, I hope I nailed that one. So I would say 15 to 17 years she's been doing the coin toss. And back in the day, we weren't, and this isn't like bragging or anything, but I wasn't betting a lot of money on anything. And I'm still not betting a lot now. But my unit was much smaller when I was, when I was younger, and now it's a little bigger. But she doesn't win.
Much for you to spend back then.
She does, yeah. She doesn't win at all, ever. I don't think she's ever won. I told people, I have people that text me the weekend of, what'd your wife do? What'd she do so we can fade her? I believe you faded her last year as well, correct?
I did. I
got bad news for you. She's
out
in LA for work. She's going to be back this weekend, I hope, if the house is still alive and all that kind of stuff. And I said, hey, I'm going to need to know. Like, people want to know. This is the last show. She said, not 100%, but 10,000% tails. Dan, what are you betting on?
I'm also on tails.
She's due. Like, that's the beauty part, is that she's due. She even said, she said, well, this is what makes her beautiful. Don't vote against me this year because I'm going to be right. Nobody's voting. Nobody's voting, sweetheart.
That's why I put the bet in.
Nobody's voting, sweetheart. They're betting. Nobody's voting.
Yeah.
So anybody out there that wants to win a little money, my wife is going to be putting money on. And that's the thing is every year, Dan, you know what it's like when you know you're gambling a lot during the day and you have a lot of action out there, you like to get off to a good start. And it helps your live betting. You know, if you start like winning early, then you can start like pushing a little bit. Yeah. Well, every year it's like, well, I'm minus money from the start because of the coin toss. So she has tails.
Let's talk early money.
Yeah.
Let's talk early money. Because that is kind of where my first couple plays are.
Love it. Let me get my pen.
Like you said, it's fun to get stuff early. And so a lot of the stuff that I've been looking at are first quarter kind of plays here. So I like combining Ramondre Stevenson and Kenneth Walker for 10 rushing yards in the first quarter
each,
and you combine them, you parlay them, and you get even money.
Okay.
I think there's going to be some let's move the clock a little bit. Let's get a rushing play here and there. 10 yards, each of them. No problem. Then the other one, Kenneth Walker, first quarter receiving yards over a half a yard. So basically, does he catch a screen pass and get positive yards instead of negative yards? And that one, I did put one of those happy hour from DraftKings boosts on to get to plus 182. I think it sits around plus 130, plus 140, which is still playable. Because my rationale with that is I think that you're going to want Darnold to get into a rhythm early. You're going to want to get him a couple safe completions, get him relaxed, confident, in the moment. Okay. And Kenneth Walker is 17 to 17 on his last on his last 17 targets, he's caught all 17.
Okay.
And several of those have been in the first quarter. So I like that look. And like you said, you get some of that. Okay, now we got the ball rolling. Now we're into the flow of the game. And you're not trying to predict a whole game script or needing the over ASN's yards is 90, 7 catches. Diggs is sitting at 45. Those numbers just get pushed up all week because everyone's buying the over on JSN.
Yeah.
It's like, man, I don't know. 90's pretty high.
Against those cornerbacks too? Like like the New England cornerbacks are good. Are really good. Okay.
Yeah. So one of the things I do, I make a notebook like this. And I just start scribbling down numbers. It has the Rams and Seahawks on the top from last week, and then Seahawks and Patriots on the bottom here as my chicken scratch. But it gives me kind of that baseline. What were the pregame numbers like?
Yeah. Well, it's simple as if you gamble on your phone, go take a screen grab of the rushing, receiving. And passing props. I do that all the time. And then, midway through the game, maybe halftime, I look at it and I'm like, look at the value you can get certain places. And like if JSN has 2 catches for 15 yards in the first half and you can get them for 55 yards at halftime, you jump on it because they're not usually that wrong when it comes to setting lines. So go ahead, Dan. I'm sorry.
Well, and I'm looking at Cooper Kupp at 32.5. Kenneth Walker 25. I like both of those numbers, but I certainly don't love them. I actually kind of love Cooper Kupp's. I think that his experience makes a huge difference here. But I would love to see like a 3 and out with like a 3-yard pass to Kenneth Walker on the first possession and get that number around like 24, 25. Then I'm just like
for Kupp.
Full unit. Yeah.
Yeah. So how much? It's at 35 right now. If they go 3 and out, what will it go down?
27, 28.
Will it go down a full 5, 6, 7 yards?
Well, no. So it's at 32.5.
Okay, 32.5. Gotcha.
It'll
go
go
5
yards.
yards.
28.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'd like that number. Yeah. I don't know. I just and his usage is super late. Like it's almost like Darnold doesn't start targeting him until late. So Yeah, I don't know. That's just a number I'm looking at.
And then he catches a 25-yarder on the first drive, and you're like, son of a, why didn't I put the money down early? No, I get you.
So,
I like both.
So that's where I was with Stidham last game. I loved his rushing yardage, but I didn't love it at 18.5. Well, it got down to 11.5, and then he had like a 6-yard run, and I'm like, oh. But it moved, but it only moved to 12.5 or something, and I'm like, absolutely, this dude is lost. He is going to take off, and we hit it. We hit it at 12.5 and like 16.5. We hit it both.
I love it. I'm going to be texting Dan during the Super Bowl. Okay, so
I know I'm not all that much fun to hang out with during games like this because I'm
working.
I'm just on my phone and shit.
I'm working. You're working. It's not great. I love it. My kids will come in the room and be like, "Dad, what are we on?" And I'm like, we aren't on anything. We aren't on anything.
I got an 8-year-old. Yeah. My 7-year-old, you want to talk about bad beats? UFC's on the other night. He's like, what should I bet on? I said, pick these 2 fighters. Who do you want to win? He's like, well, I want this guy. Well, he was like minus 300. I said, how about we say for him to win and round 2 to start? Dude got knockout with 1 second left in the first round.
Oh,
all-time bad beat.
Hey, they got to learn early. I know. I'll say this: if you would teach younger people how to gamble, they would be better in math. They would be.
Oh,
like if you sat like my math and like I didn't used to be able to do this, but like in my head I can do division and all these kind of things, and because of the fact that I probably gamble too much. Okay, so Kenneth Walker and Ramondre Stevenson, 10 yards in the first quarter each. You can get it even money if you parlay it. The other one is Kenneth Walker to get 1 yard receiving in the first quarter. Now, I will say this. I'm on the under Kenneth Walker 2.5 receptions for the game. So I may go small on that just to kind of hedge it. And if I don't win that one, it's probably good for my overall one. Although what worries me in that one is late in the game and dump downs. But I do, again, it's a script thing. I think if Seattle's going to be winning, then they're going to be ahead. They're going to be running the football, and hopefully that takes away any trouble that I have. Maybe
he gets that first quarter reception. That number is going to bump to under 3.5.
You can middle.
Then you take those winnings and you put it on the under.
Yeah,
because he got that sucker so early.
That's true.
That they're thinking, "Oh man, we're gonna lose this 2.5."
That's actually true.
All right, the other one. So the other thing I like a lot of unders, and I like a lot of under longest catches.
Okay.
I think that both of these teams, like you said, with the secondary for New England too, are just not going to give up long catches, and maybe we're not looking at guys like JSN, but we could be looking at guys like Mac Hollins, and let's see, Diggs is sitting at 18 yards for longest catch. Let's see, sitting at 19 yards. That just feels like.
Who was the second one?
Kayshon Boutte. And then Mac Hollins, I don't know. I just think when you look at a 17-yard catch to cover a number, it's when they might get 4 or 5 targets a game. It's a stretch, especially against the Seattle defense. I don't know.
Are we making this an official play, Daniel?
No, I don't think so. Because again, we're going to want that number to run. That's the only thing about that.
Yeah.
But I mean, if Mac Hollins under gets to about 20, you can get it with juice at 18.5 right now. If I can get it at 19.5, I'm taking the under. So, I mean, maybe you pair that with like 1 reception and see if you can find somewhere that the correlation doesn't really, like some of these books, they don't even understand correlation. Yeah. They'd see, you're telling him he's going to catch a pass, but it's going to be under 20 yards. Well, they might make that like plus 105 because they just don't know what the hell they're doing.
Sure.
Then you got to kind of click around buttons and figure out which apps are not really in the algorithm yet. But yeah, some of the straight lines I like right now. I think that Ramondre Stevenson is going to be on the field a lot, so some rushing, receiving yards there. He's minus 150 for 3 receptions. That's one that I have circled that he's probably not going to get looks right off the bat. But if it's a game script where they're down, and I can get plus money for 2 or 3, let's say he gets one early, but then it becomes plus money for 3 as they're down 2 touchdowns. That's when you start looking at some of those dump offs. He's just such a better pass blocker than Henderson, and as you can see in the playoffs, I mean, Henderson's just been sidelined. They're just not going with a rookie. So I like those receptions for him. Again, this is all game script. I'll tell you one that I did bet and put a half a unit on. Kenneth Walker and Ramondre Stevenson to have 5 yards rushing in each quarter at plus. What would you price that at?
Oh boy.
5 yards each quarter.
Minus probably minus 120, just regular juice.
Plus 450 on DraftKings.
Really?
Yeah.
So 5 yards
rushing.
each.
Here's the trick with that, Dazzo. If Seattle is down in the fourth quarter, are they even going to run the ball?
That's true. Either or. What
you're counting on is a close game. Or a lot of times what they'll do is they'll take it in the shotgun on 2nd and 9 and do a draw to kind of hand off to give themselves a short third down. That's where you can kind of get away with it.
Plus
but I think for
450?
plus 450, that's definitely worth the risk of half a unit.
And that's the 2 players, right? That's Stevenson and Walker.
Yep. For them to each register 5 yards rushing in each quarter.
All right. Well, I'm on that one now too.
I just think that I think that both of these coaches are just going to get their running backs a lot of touches because they're guys they can trust. And I think that with Charbonnet out, Kenneth Walker becomes such a bigger funnel of activity.
No, I would agree.
Yep, those are the things I like right now. I keep an eye on some of those unders of the longest catch. Mac Hollins is the one that really stands out to me. And then, if you look around, some of these books are kind of wonky. I had some soft spots here. Oh yeah, Hunter Henry at 40 yards receiving is plus money at MGM, and most books have 42.5 as minus 120. So if you're into that CLV thing, you're getting 30 points right there, and 3 less yards. What was the other one? Oh, Sam Darnold on FanDuel. 228 passing yards. That was pretty soft. But yeah, you shop around for some of those things. And I think Hunter Henry probably will get a lot of action. He was Drake May's first look, something like 66% of the time. And I think that he finds ways to get open.
If you were to do, because I think there's boosts out there for first touchdown scorer. If you
I have one.
First touchdown score, what do you like? Do you try to make money, or do you try to make a lot of money with those? Do you try to
That's what I was gonna say. So a lot of times with something like that, I'm not looking at predicting it. I'm looking at where I see the most value.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yep, 100%.
So most likely it's going to be Kenneth Walker because they're favored, and it's likely a running back. But again, this is going to sound – there's a lot of thematics. You can tell that I have, themes in my head of how this is going to go because at 14-1, I went Cooper Kupp.
Yeah.
And I think that stuff by the goal line, he's just kind of shifty, and he'll get the ball, and he'll find a way into the end zone. So I went with Cooper Kupp. That was my boost on first TD. The best way to play first TD is to put it with about 4 guys, 2 for each team, and spread your bets out 0.2 units, and so you'll have 0.8 of a unit going, and just make sure that you're kind of doing all plus 600 or higher.
Yeah.
And then you've kind of spread it out a little bit. So
I like it.
Yeah. That's the fun way. That's the fun way to do first touchdown.
I'll do a lot of that with my kids. I'll be like, hey, pick a first touchdown score. My nieces, hey, and they each have one, and they're like, I'm like, well, if you hit it, Uncle Matt will buy you some Chick-fil-A, and then I'll make some money in the long run as well. Plug the
Sure.
Dan Tomlin bets on X. Plug what you're doing, all those kind of things.
Yeah, so me and a couple buddies started a sports data and analytics Discord that we run for free. We don't charge money. We don't want your money. And it's where I post my plays every day. NBA, NFL, baseball. I mean, baseball. I was a 100-unit winner here, just doing strikeouts. But that's where we sit and talk, and it's just a bunch of dads that hang out in the chat, talk sports, talk betting strategies, and win bets. So people, whenever I'd post my winning plays on Twitter, people would say, "Oh, where do you post your plays?" I don't. And me and a couple buddies started this up. So Prop Culture on Twitter. I think it's Prop Culture X on Twitter is where you can find that, and it links to our Discord. And yeah, we're free. We're never going to be a paid Discord. We're not looking to make money on subscriptions or anything like that. We just like building a community of like-minded dudes and ladies that like to talk sports. So we've got a nice little community of about 500 people. And it's a fun.
Is that during games, during the week, both?
It's everything. I mean, like I have the chat. I have my NBA chat going now as we're talking. We're trying to hunt down some LeBron rebounds. But we'll, like I'll put 4 or 5 bets out there a day, and then people will tail them, or they'll be tailing their own bets. We have, channels where you can post slip ideas. So, hey, I saw this. I think this is going to be a good bet. And then, and then it's just a chat room where we just talk about live during the game. And a lot of those live bets, we had lots of people hitting on those live bets during those playoff games.
So go to Prop Culture X on X, and there'll be a link there to get into the Discord.
Yep.
Go join Dan. Our bets for what we're going to go with, Dan, after all the talking that we've done, and we can put them out there. The Kenneth Walker and the Ramondre Stevenson, 10 yards each in the first quarter. We're going to be on that one. We're going to be on Cooper Kupp plus 1,400 to score the first touchdown. We are going to be on, what was the other one? Kenneth Walker 1 yard in the first receiving in the first quarter. I'm going to be on that one a little lighter because I got something else already invested. Those 3. Am I missing anything else?
The 5 yards each.
Yes.
You said 5 yards each quarter?
Yep, 5 yards each quarter for 4 plus 450. We'll have some fun and sprinkle a little bit on that as well. So those are our 4 plays. We'll put them up on X. Make sure you check out.
That sounds good, my friend.
What is it? Again, the Twitter is Dan Tomlin Bets.
That's right.
All right. I love it, my friend. Enjoy your Super Bowl Sunday. Tails till it fails, or tails never fails. Is that what they say?
Tails never fails.
Don't you bring him into this. Don't you bring in the good Lord above into our mess. So, all right, my friend. I appreciate you. We'll talk soon.
Okay. See you later.
All right. That is Dan Tomlin. Getting us set for Super Bowl Sunday. Should be a bunch of fun. Go check that out. Prop Culture X on X. Just go there, and there's a link to the Discord. A nice, cool community where you can go and tail people and all those kind of fun things. Hopefully make a little money as well. So we got more to get to. You're watching Off the Air on a Friday. TGIF. It's Friday. We'll be right back.
Give me the keys. Learning to drive can be stressful for both the student and, yes, the parent as well. Relax. There's an easy way to avoid the stress. Skiles Driving School in East Moline has been helping new drivers hit the road with confidence for over 20 years. Whether you're a teen earning your first license or an adult looking for behind-the-wheel training, we've got you covered. Their certified instructors are patient, experienced, and use modern vehicles equipped for safety and comfort. From classroom instruction to real-world driving, we make learning safe, affordable, and even fun. Call 309-278-0098 or visit skylesdriving.com. Skiles Driving School. Get in, buckle up, drive your future forward.
Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Friday. Friday, February 6th, the Friday before the Super Bowl. Hopefully everybody is ready for the big game. They got their food ready, their menus, all those kind of things. Dan just helping you get ready for your wagers if you have some wagers you want to put on the game. I got the Seahawks minus 3.5. I have to put in a final score for a Survivor League that I'm in. I got to tweak that a little bit still, but I'm going to go Seattle 24, New England 17. 24-17 is kind of where I'm at right now. We'll see if that comes to fruition, but I like the Seahawks to be the Super Bowl champions. We'll talk all about it on Monday right here on OTA. Again, it was a super fun week. This week, Taylor Panel, Trent Condon, Arthur Abbey from Rock Island, Rob Brooks, Kyle Huseman, Jim Matson, Caden Considine, new signee for Illinois football, Nick Baumgartner from The Athletic, Jake Brend, Jim Spencer, and Matt Gingrich from the Sterling Athletics, and they do a great job calling games there. Tom Kakert, Nicholas Baer, Kevin Gorgel from Moline. A lot of feedback from that interview. If you missed that, after 33 years with Moline, Kevin Gorgel retiring at school and then retiring from coaching as well. I'm going to go watch his son play college football, and I do not blame him one bit, and John Marks as well. So today's guests, we talked with Craig DeVries about Roger Craig getting back in the Hall of Fame. We mentioned Dan Tomlin, and then John Bohnenkamp started us off. He was at Carver Hawkeye Arena last night as the Iowa women lost their third straight game. So another lull for them. Last year they lost 5 straight and then got things turned back around. A big game for Iowa women coming up next Wednesday at Carver Hawkeye against Washington. As for local basketball this weekend, Iowa State gets Baylor coming up on Saturday. It is Illinois and Michigan State. Big matchup at the Breslin Center in East Lansing. And then on Super Bowl Sunday, it's Iowa and Northwestern going head-to-head as well. So a big night of high school basketball. We'll kind of recap that. It's getting to be that fun, crazy time of year when it comes to high school basketball. I saw Ty Taylor the other day at Sherrard. I'm like, Ty, it's getting to be that time. You're going to have to start coming on the show and talk a little high school basketball. So we'll get you caught up with all of that and much, much more. A full week of shows next week. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy the Super Bowl. We'll see you back here once again next week.